In this video, I will show you the 3 best AI tools with which you can create awesome viral YouTube video thumbnails. And I have left links to all these products in the description. And as the very first tool on this list, we have Pixels.com. So for instance, I have typed in a man swimming underwater, looking terrified at the camera while a shark looms menacingly in the background. And now I can click generate. Then it will take like 15 to 20 seconds to create the image. And here is the result. And if you're not happy with it, for instance, this looks pretty decent, but I would like to create another similar one, you can just click redo. That looks amazing. And by the way, you can also edit these existing photos. So for instance, if you like this, but you want to change some things around, you can click on this edit button. Then just describe the change you want to make. So for instance, here we could add some more sharks into the background. And please be careful not to overwhelm the AI. So give it some simple instructions, perhaps one at a time, because if you try to describe everything in one go, it will just get confused, at least on my experience. Oh yeah, so there you have it. We have a similar image, but now there are more sharks looming at the background. Now this is pretty cool already, but this is nothing too special. So you can do similar stuff with ChatGPT or with Deep AI or other free AI tools basically. But the way that Pixels stands out among all these other AI creators is that you can also add text and you can do a face swap and you can also do a recreated thumbnail. So you can take inspiration directly from a video and create a similar thumbnail. And now let's explore those features. So here at the bottom of the screen, also you can actually start a new chat if you want to. But here you can click on this recreate button and here you can drag or drop a link to a video where you have a thumbnail that you like, or you can also upload an image of a thumbnail. So for instance, here is a really good looking YouTube video thumbnail that I just discovered on YouTube by searching for how to make money online. And if you want to create a similar thumbnail, all you need to do is drag and drop this image into the view. So here we go. I uploaded the image, then check the inspiration weight. So if you have a low weight, it is basically going to take just a loose approximation of the original thumbnail and it is going to create something that is somewhat similar. Then if you choose this medium, it is going to follow the original thumbnail by quite a bit, but it's still using some own creativity. And then if you choose the high inspiration weight, you're going to get pretty much an exact same thumbnail. So I recommend keeping this at medium because you don't want to plagiarize, you don't want to steal ideas from somebody else, and you don't want to make things look exactly what your competitors have done, because this will also dilute the chances of your video going viral, because there has always or already been a video like this with a thumbnail like this. So it's not only unethical, but it's also not going to work. So let's just use this medium option, and then also let's change things in this thumbnail. So for instance, if you look at here, you can see that it is a bit of an older guy than what I am, and also the number in the background is $100 a day. So now I have told the AI that make the guy about 30 years old with brown hair so that it represents me better, and then also add a $500 per day in the background. So it said originally $100, so I want to say $500. And now let's click generate. And there we go. In fact, it didn't change the text, so I should have probably done that separately. But now the guy is more like me. Well, it doesn't look like me definitely, but is about my age. And also one thing I recommend doing is that just add one instruction at a time. So for instance, one thing I don't like about this original thumbnail is that there is this helmet in the background. So we can say that remove the helmet. As you can see, now the helmet is gone, but now there is a problem. So there are 2 pieces of text here. So there's $100 per day and $50 per day, which is something I don't like. So let's say remove the text. Now this is starting to look better. So you can step by step improve these images. So you can tell to remove objects, add objects. Then let's actually change the color of the shirt. And as you can see, we're doing this step by step. So we're giving the AI simple instructions on every rendition of this thumbnail to add or to remove stuff. And for instance, now we can add the text back. And there we have it. And also, sometimes the AI is not that accurate, so it might not add very good text even if you ask it to, or it might add multiple pieces of text. So as we saw before, there was this text where it said $100 per day, and then in the same image there was also $50 per day, which is a bit confusing. And if that's the case, and for instance if you see that okay, this step didn't produce that good of an image, what you can do is you can click on download, then you can go to Canva, so you can open up the Canva YouTube thumbnail editor, and then you can drag and drop the image here. Then just resize it to make it fit. Then you can copy the image and paste it again. So now we have two images. Then you can remove the background of this one. And now this separates the guy from the background. Then you can click on text. You can, for instance, click add heading. Then you can type in something, for example, $500 per day. You can resize the text. Let's make it 125. Let's actually make it even bigger. Then let's change the color. For instance, we can go white. Then you can click on effects and, for instance, add this lift effect. Then you can click on position and layers and then drag and drop this text behind the guy and before this actual background. And now we also have this text over here. Obviously it doesn't look that great, so you need to add some colors to it. For instance, you can make it yellow, or you can use an even more vibrant color, and you can also choose these different text styles from this library in Canva. So you can also use this traditional method, that is by editing with Canva, if you're not happy with what you see. Another problem with these images is that these do not look like me. So these are close to me in age, but the problem is that the face isn't nearly looking like me. So to fix this, we can click on one of these images, for instance this one. We can click on face swap, then you can drag and drop an image of yourself here. So for instance, I will be using this one. Then I'll click generate, and now it will generate this image that you see here with my face merged nicely into it. And there we have it. I mean, isn't that incredible? So if you look at the first version of this thumbnail, this guy doesn't look quite like me at all, but here it clearly has these facial features that I have. Obviously, it is not a perfect match, but as I said, you can tweak these step by step. So for instance, you can describe your hair more accurately, your body type more accurately. So for instance, this guy is a bit slimmer than I am in the real life. The cool part is that you can do this without having any technical knowledge or design skills. So you can just literally tell what you want to see in these images, and the AI will produce these results. And this facial merging feature is really good. This will make it look like you as well. So I mean, this is probably going to get even crazier in the next couple of years. And also there are problems, because once everybody starts to use one of these, then a thumbnail like this is something that is a basic thumbnail that anyone can create, so it will dilute the impact of this as well. But for now, there are not many people using this yet, so this is going to be pretty cool, because you will for sure gain a visual and perhaps even a CTR advantage on your YouTube channel once you start using these AI generated thumbnails. And you will also save time and money, because you don't have to design this by yourself, and you don't have to hire a professional designer to do this for like $200. I really recommend trying it out. Make sure to check the link in the description, because you will find a free trial. And also, if you want to use these thumbnails, if you want to pay for the product if it's so good, then you can apply the code that I have in this description, which will give you 50% off. Then as the next awesome AI YouTube video thumbnail creator, we have Canva. The Canva YouTube thumbnail maker works in a very similar fashion to Pixels AI, so you just describe what you want to see. For instance, we can do an ambient thumbnail for my lo-fi playlist. Then just click create a thumbnail with AI. Then you can choose one of these 4 AI generated images. The problem I have with Canva is that this AI video thumbnail creator is actually in the wrong aspect ratio. So these images are squares instead of those 16:9 aspect ratio rectangles. So this actually makes me believe that Canva just wants to be in this free AI YouTube thumbnail space by basically just using a simple AI image generator and calling it a YouTube thumbnail creator. So this one isn't that useful, if I'm honest. But Canva has also a separate YouTube thumbnail maker that I use for every single thumbnail that I create. And it is flooded with awesome AI thumbnail features as well. So you can actually find a link to this page in the description as well. So first and foremost, this one is the right aspect ratio. But now the thing is that you can't really tell the AI to create a thumbnail in a similar fashion to you did in Pixels AI. So this one is quite different, but you have all these cool little AI features that will make your thumbnails possible. Just as an example, let's say that I want to create a thumbnail where I have my selfie here. There are two things I could do with this selfie. I can actually copy paste it because I want to show the both of them. So the first thing is just to remove the background. So as you can see, there is a sofa and there is a wall. So if I want to create a sleek looking thumbnail, I want to get rid of the background. So I can click on this. I can click on the BG remover button here. And then after about 5 seconds, the background is gone. So this is awesome. But then also, if I want to spread this background through this entire thumbnail, I can choose this. I can click on edit. And then I can click on this magic expand feature. So for instance, we can do whole page here. Then I can click on expand. And here you can see that the AI expands upon the image. So it's basically guessing what's happening behind the scenes. Of course, if the image is this small, then it's going to get very wild towards the edges. So I don't really think I could use any one of these. But this can be very useful if you have an image where you have a very close-up headshot, for example, and you want to add some edges to it as well, so that it's not just a very close-up headshot. And this is basically usually how I do it. So when I create a YouTube thumbnail, I want to keep it very simple and straightforward. So the first step is that I drag and drop an image here. Then I use AI to remove the background. Then I make the image appear here at one of the corners. Then I colorize the background. Usually I keep it very dark, so you can do something like this. Then I usually add a gradient behind myself to highlight me in the image. For example, we can do this one, where you can search for these gradients here. And also it uses AI in the search, so if you find objects that look good, the AI will suggest you even more similar objects. So now I'll drag and drop the gradient on me. Then I'll click on one of these color options. I think this blue looks cool. Then I can make it just a bit bigger. Then I can click on the position tab, layers, and then I can drag it down behind me. So now it looks as if I am illuminated from behind. And this is pretty cool. This is basically something I do every time with every single one of my thumbnails. Then what I usually do is I add some text here. So for instance, we could do something like best AI apps. Then I can make the text go left here. I can tweak the spacing here. So let's do like this and this. Then let's make it bigger. Then, for example, you can choose one of these words here and you can colorize it differently. For example, you do something like best AI apps like this. You can add some effects to it if you have a lighter background, so it will add a slight little drop shadow behind the text. Then, for example, if it's a video about the best AI apps, I can drag and drop some images here of these app icons. And once again, if you have these images, you can remove the background with the BG remover option. So then it will get rid of all these excess elements. For example, we could use this app icon, but we can also remove the background just to add the logo into the view. The same goes here. So some cool little use cases for AI. So it's removing the background without you having to do it, because that would take time, I can guarantee you that. And there you have it. Now you have these cool little app icons without those backgrounds in the place as well. And you can add those here, somewhere over here, hovering nicely. And then of course you have all these other Magic Studio features, or what these AI features are called in Canva. So you have the Magic Eraser. So if you have an image where you want to remove something from the image, you can use this feature. Then you can grab objects from images. So if you have a complex image with a lot of objects, you can use this feature to grab a specific one. You can grab text from images with this. And then as I showed you, you have the Magic Expand option. But this is usually how I create my thumbnails. So I want them to be very simple. So I add a selfie of myself. It can be one of these, or it can be one of those AI generated ones. For example, this is something that I commonly use as well. But as you can see, it doesn't really make sense to add this here because it has the background, which is confusing because the other part doesn't. So I can click on remove the background, and then I'll have this image look very good here without the background. And speaking of these images and selfies, one thing you might want to do is, instead of using those traditional grainy selfies that I showed you earlier, for example this one, you can use an AI headshot like this that is a lot sharper and a lot crisper of an image. And if you want to create one of these, you can use a tool called BetterPic AI. This is kind of unrelated to the topic of this video, but I highly recommend you checking it out because this will make your thumbnails look so much more professional and smoother. And I have actually arranged you a discount code for using this product, so this is a paid one. But nonetheless, the idea is very simple. So you get your headshots by clicking here, then you just upload a bunch of selfies into this view, and then it will give you images like this back. And then you can just download those, add those into Canva, remove the background, and then use those in your thumbnails. Then last but not least, we also have ChatGPT. And no, I'm not just going to show you how to open up a chat and ask it to create an image, but I will show you 4 ways with which you can improve your thumbnails using ChatGPT's AI. Alrighty, so the most obvious way for you to use ChatGPT to create a thumbnail is by asking it to create an image. And by the way, you can do this also on the free plan, but I think that it's limiting you to like 3 pictures per day or something like that. But for instance, here I have typed, create a photo, realistic image of a person with short light brown hairstyle and whatnot. And basically I'm just describing myself to the AI. And if I hit enter, I will get an image like this. Well, now the problem is that it's in the wrong aspect ratio. So let's actually tell it to use the YouTube thumbnail aspect ratio, which is 16:9. And there we have it. Now the problem is that this looks like a 3D character and also it doesn't look like me. So now we can download it and I can use an online face swapping tool to make myself appear in this image. So for instance, I'm using this pixels.com, but you can use a free AI tool. I will leave links into the description. We'll drag the thumbnail here. Then I will drag and drop a profile picture of myself here. So now I'll click generate. And there we have it. So as you can see, if we compare it with this image, wait a second, I'll drag it here. So here is the original image and here on the right hand side is the face swapped image. So although those don't look exactly the same, but there are clearly some characteristics, because if we compare this with the original thumbnail, this doesn't look like me at all, but this one is much closer. And now what you can do is you can download this image, then you can, for example, upload it into a tool like Canva, and now you can add some text into the view. So for instance, the way I usually do it is that I add the text into the background. So I will copy this image and paste it. So now I'll have 2 images on top of one another. Then I will click on the remove background feature here. Then it will extract myself from the image. So now I only have the background image and then myself extracted out now nicely. So now what I can do is click text, add heading. For instance, we can do something like my 2025, something like that. And I can click on the text. I will change the color to, for instance, white. I will make it larger. Let's put it this big. I can click on the position, I can click on backward, and now it appears behind me. And also one thing I can do is if I want to emphasize this text, I can actually click on the text, I can click on the effects, click on lift, drag the intensity to its fullest. Actually, I think that only saying 2025 here looks even better, just for the sake of demonstration. So let's put it here, let's drag it behind, and here we go. So now if I was making a video about my 2025 goals or something like that, this could be my thumbnail. But to be brutally honest, the problem with this one is that, at least for me, this doesn't look too realistic. So it looks almost like a 3D character, especially this one. So this instantly looks like it's not a real image. But this is still better in my opinion than using tool like Paint or something to create those super amateurish looking thumbnails. So this is still a bit better than that. To be brutally honest, I think this is not the most optimal way for you to use ChatGPT. So let's jump into the next use case, and that is using ChatGPT to create a background. So for instance, here I'm telling ChatGPT to create, once again, a 16:9 image, which is a YouTube thumbnail size, of an office space that is dark. In the center there's a computer, the lighting is teal and orange but very dim, and then give it a bit of a dramatic vibe. And this way I can create a super nice looking background for one of my thumbnails. So this step is not creating the thumbnail entirely with AI, but it's once again doing it step by step, and this is the first step. And now let me show you how big a difference it actually makes when you have a background like this versus when you don't. Okay, so here's the initial version. So I have a thumbnail about the AI apps of 2025. And as you can see, it's actually very minimalistic and it looks decent, but I think that it's just missing something because there's only text and myself. So let's add the nice background that I just created using ChatGPT here to spice things up a bit. And here we have it. And also I can make myself stand out by adding a gradient, and I can put the gradient behind me. So now it's actually highlighting myself here. And then if the background is too bright, for instance, I think there's quite a bit happening in this image right now. You can also drag down the transparency. So this could be something that we could go with. So something like half transparency. And then we could also add some AI app icons here into the image. Again, if I'm brutally honest, this is nothing too impressive, but this is just there to spice things up for you. Then the next obvious way for you to use ChatGPT is by telling it to give inspiration for your thumbnail. So here I have asked AI, I am making a YouTube video about the AI apps. I want to create a thumbnail. Can you give some simple tips? And here you can actually see these awesome little tips that the ChatGPT is writing me. So, and now once again, you can open up a tool like Canva to implement these tips. And by the way, these are not set in stone. These are not following some kind of an equation. These are just there for you to use some of these. So don't think that these are all these things that you need to do, because if you want to do everything at the same time, then it's going to be a complete mess. And in YouTube thumbnails, I think simple is beautiful. And heck, you can even tell the AI to turn this into a thumbnail if you want to. Now, if we're brutally honest, you can see that this looks very generic. So thumbnails like this have existed for at least 2 years now. And if somebody sees one of these thumbnails on YouTube feed, you can instantly tell that, okay, this is an AI generated video, an AI generated thumbnail. This is something you should not watch because it's somebody who's just trying to make money by doing lazy work. So I don't recommend creating thumbnails directly on ChatGPT, but this can give you still some inspiration. So you can use these colors, these gradients, you can use these elements here, and also you can use these tips right here. And last but not least, I think one of my favorite ways to use AI or ChatGPT to create a YouTube thumbnail is by asking for feedback. So for example, let's drag and drop the image of the previous thumbnail that I created. So this is definitely not perfect. I would say that this is like 5 out of 10. So I'm just saying, can you give feedback to improve this thumbnail? So here it's saying that we could slightly reduce the spacing between the letters for a compact look. That we could use some color contrasts here. We can do some hierarchy. So for instance, we could use the year number or something like that. We could add a vignette effect to focus attention. We could increase the contrast in this teal and this orange color. So as you can see, it's pretty dull. You almost can't see the color gradients right now. So I definitely agree with this. And yeah, this is actually great. So add a subtle outline or drop shadow around the person. Then we have some call to actions, branding and style. Pretty much agree to all of this. So this is a pretty boring and a pretty basic YouTube video thumbnail. So we could do a lot of these tweaks to make it look a lot better. So now that I have implemented some of these changes that ChatGPT gave me here, I think that this is actually looking a bit better. Of course, once again, this is just to demonstrate, so this is not a perfect one. Usually I spend a lot more time on these. But as you can see, you can use ChatGPT to create these backgrounds, and then you can also use ChatGPT to get ideas to your existing thumbnails.